Hello everybody, it's Tom Seidler, the Lonely Gamer, and I'm here today to do a video on Combat Arena Lair of the Beast. Now this video has been a long time coming. This game was released a couple days after my birthday at the beginning of July. They said it was going to be out by the end of July. I was very excited about this. I made a video, you can go back and watch that video. And then the end of July came and nothing happened. Nobody said a thing. Nobody knew anything. This is a Barnes & Noble exclusive. So started going to Barnes & Noble the beginning of August. They didn't know what was going on. They knew nothing about this game. Nobody at Games Workshop seemed to know anything about this game. And so then it just kind of died into the ether. August went by. September 1st comes around. Games Workshop puts out a video on their site saying this game is going to be released next week. Next week comes, nothing. Barnes & Noble still doesn't know anything about it. And then about the middle of September, they finally released this game. It showed up on Barnes & Noble's website. It did not show up in stores. I ordered it off the Barnes & Noble website. Unfortunately, the Barnes & Noble website is terrible, absolutely terrible. And when I ordered it, even though I was logged into Barnes & Noble's website under my name and in my account, it didn't buy the item under my account. So it bought the item under guest for some reason. So now the item is not in my account and I can't track it through my account. The item ships like the day after I ordered it, which was pretty cool. I thought that was cool. But then it took like almost 2 weeks to get to me because it bounced around the United States. In fact, when it hit Chicago, I knew there was going to be issues because anything that I order that goes through Chicago is always delayed a couple days. So it bounced from Chicago back to St. Louis, and then it finally got here. And when it got here, I was all excited. I opened it up to see this. This is the insert for the game. I don't know if you can see this, but it's all melted. It was even worse than this, and I heated it up with a blow dryer and actually got it to be a little more conforming. But one of the things about these Games Workshop's games is they always create a insert that you can be proud of. It's got little places to put your figures. It holds your figures in there so that they are safe and secure when you're moving it around. And now I have no insert for my game because this thing does not hold my figures. It's all wanky. It doesn't hold my boards and everything in there. So now I've got to come up with a insert solution for this. So to be quite honest with you, this is a great game, but this is a roller coaster ride for me because the game is good. The place that Games Workshop decided to partner with for this game, which would be Barnes & Noble, is horrible. I would not buy anything from Barnes & Noble unless it's the only place in the world to buy that item. And in this case, this was the only place in the world to buy this item. As of this day, I've had this for 3 or 4 days trying to get this video put out. As of this day, this still is not available in hardly any Barnes & Noble stores. My Barnes & Noble told me that they were only going to get 1 copy of this. So even if it is available, if you live in a highly populated area, you're going to have to fight for that 1 copy. This is a great game. I wish Games Workshop would just put it out under their name. I know that this is kind of a predecessor to some of their bigger games, and they want to sell the games that cost $100, and this one only costs $35. But I still think that the Barnes & Noble is a mistake. Now, I will say, going off of that, $35 for this is insane. This is ridiculous. This comes with 10 miniatures. So 10 miniatures come in this box for $35. If you're playing Star Wars Shatterpoint like me, you're used to paying $50 for 4 miniatures. So you're getting quite a value in this box. So I think Games Workshop has done that right. And to be quite honest with you, there are a lot of good things with this and a lot of bad things. So I'm going to try to go over the good stuff, the bad stuff, just kind of give you guys a general overview. This game plays exactly like the last Combat Arena with a few exceptions. I'm not going to talk about how to play this game in this video. I'm going to just cover the exceptions. that are in this game. And actually, I think the exceptions, some of them are pretty good. So, without further ado, let's get into this. I do want to mention before I start that, as you can notice, I am not in my normal studio doing this video. That's because my normal studio is filled up with Shatterpoint stuff right now, and I'm in the middle of a game that I'm playing, so I decided to just go ahead and put this video out here instead of removing all my Shatterpoint stuff from the studio and having to put it back. So, let's talk about this game. This game is a combat game, up to 4 players. This game here you could actually play up to 5 players if you don't put in the beast that comes with it. Previous iterations of this game did not have a beast, an automated player that tries to attack you, but this one does, and so there's different ways to play this. In this game, you pick a character, one character, you take that character into the arena, you fight your character against the other characters of the other players, up to 4 players, and you just try to beat them up. In this game, as an added bonus, they have this this beast, as indicated on the box here, and the beast will try to kill you while the other players are trying to kill you, and you have to kind of tend with the beast and with the other players. I'm not sure I'll play it that way because I love the interaction between the other players when we're playing it the other way, but I'll give this a try and see how it is. But I'm probably going to mostly play this with 4 to 5 players using the beast activation cards as a 5th player. The game has absolutely beautiful miniatures. Like I said, 10 miniatures in this game, and we've got the robot, we've got this space marine, looks like some kind of zealot here. We've got the dragon lord, he's got the dragon wrapped around his shoulders. We've got this ranged guy with cool rifles. We've got the flamethrower, which I will say, these figures are snap fit figures. They press together, but I did have to glue a couple of them. One was this guy. His head was barely hanging on there, so I did have to glue his head on there. But after gluing, worked out fine. We've got a sniper here. We've got a zealot here. He does some magic, faith-based attacks. And then we got a couple dwarves here to round out the crew. So along with the beast, you also get a couple worms that go with the beast. So I'll put them out there, and so you can see all these figures that come with it. If you count the worms, I think it's 12. Actually, it's 13. If you count the worms, it's 13. So you're getting 13 miniatures in this box for the price of $35. So just for the miniatures alone, it's worth the hassle to deal with Barnes & Noble to actually get this. Even if you're not going to play this game, these are absolutely beautiful miniatures. You can use them in other games. In fact, they're actually from other games. I think a lot of these miniatures are from Warhammer Quest. So, you know, if you don't have that game and you want these miniatures, this is a very inexpensive way to get them, and I think that's why this is so popular. Now, one thing I'll mention about the popularity of this game is very popular. Sold out on Barnes & Noble within probably the first 3 or 4 days. They have been getting some stock. You know, I watch it every day, and it looks like a little bit of stock will pop up, and then they'll go out of stock again. So I would highly recommend just keep watching Barnes & Noble website. I have noticed that a couple places outside of my area have gotten it in the stores, and they just seem to sit there. The places that have shown up in the stores, which are not in my area, but which are outside my area, they don't seem to sell. So hit your stores. If you're lucky enough that your store has actually got 1 or 2 copies, if you live in a big metropolitan area, you might get multiple copies. Go to your store, because you're probably going to be more likely to get it from your store than you are online. And the reason is because of all the scalpers. This has been a problem for years in board gaming, toy collecting, everything else. You can readily buy this game for upwards of $80 to $150 on eBay. So that's where they're going. So I don't understand why Barnes & Noble can't get this game out, but eBay can have 57,000 copies out there from scalpers. Okay, so it's ridiculous. In fact, the first issuance of this game that I ever saw online was on eBay. I'm sure that it was probably a reviewer that got the game from Games Workshop and then probably sold it on eBay. He did not scalp it. He sold it for, I think it was $60, and I think at the time many people were thinking that this game was going to be about $60 for the retail price for it, and I think I was pleasantly surprised when it was only $35. But I don't feel like that person scalped it. He probably just got a review copy and put it out there, but now the scalpers are out there in droves. Please, please do not buy this from a scalper. Just wait. Hopefully there's going to be a lot of these, and Barnes & Noble will get their act together. I won't put any money on that, but hopefully you can get a copy of this at a reasonable rate. One thing I want to mention is I've been doing videos for many, many years. I know I don't put out that many videos, but I do put them out regularly, and I've never ever been given a free copy of a game for review. All the games that I review are games that I want to play, and they're games that I paid for. So let's really quickly, now that we've seen the miniatures that come in this game, let's look at what else comes in this game. So the other things that come in this game are the activation cards. So we've got your activation cards, and in this copy of the game, which is really nice, they've changed it from individual units logos on these activation cards to 1, 2, 3, 4. So you get 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you also get a beast activation card, and this is what you use to activate the individual players. Now, if you're playing without the beast, you can give a token to the one player to be the beast, and they can actually activate as well. This is kind of nice because now you don't have to have specific units in the card. In the last iteration of this game, you had the logo for the individual units on the cards, and so you could really only play those 4 units that came in that game. This game allows you to play any units you want. In fact, and we're going to talk about this in a few minutes, it'll let you play the ones from the other game, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So you get these activation cards. You get 4 of each, so that you can have 4 activations in a round per unit. That's based on your energy, and if you go back and watch my other video, you'll kind of understand what this is. We also get critical damage cards, and these critical damage cards have been changed a little bit from the last game. There are some changes in this game I'm going to mention later, and these critical damage cards are changed to show that. So, and then we also have our activation cards. These are very similar to the activation cards in the last game. Instead of having a blue back, they have kind of a brownish back. I don't really care for this color, but these have been modified to make a little more sense, and they've also been modified to a change in the game that is kind of important, and I actually think is a good change. So that's what you get. You get those. You get 6 dice. They are just standard blue D6 dice, and you can use your own D6 dice in this game if you want to, but you do get the 6 that come in the game. You get some tokens. You get some explosion tokens because there is a character in here who can lay explosion tokens out. You get some damage tokens. There's way more in here than what you get because I've got multiple sets of this in here, but you get some damage markers. And then you get your markers for your individual characters, 1, 2, 3, and 4. This will go on your energy track so you know what the energy of each one is. I added a marker from another set for my beast because the beast doesn't have energy, but if you're playing a 5th player, you do need a marker for that. And then you also get your life markers for each one of your things, also in 1, 2, 3, and 4. But there is one for the beast because the beast does have life, so there is one for the beast already with this picture on it, so you can use that. So you do get all those tokens. You get cards for all the units in the game. As you can see, we've got the card for the beast. We've got the card for each individual character that we have here. They all have special abilities. They all have unique abilities. And I've read through them, and some of them are very good. Now, the one thing you're going to notice, these are the 4 cards from the old set that I had. One thing you're going to notice different is that the new set does not have the ability to be wounded. So in the old game, you could be wounded and you had to change a marker over here that would degrade your abilities, your attack and your and how much damage you do. You can see on the new cards they've eliminated that. And actually I think that is a very good elimination because in the previous games it was kind of fiddly having this piece of token on your board. You had to move it back and forth. Sometimes you'd knock it and you couldn't remember if you were wounded or not. So I find this to be an addition to the game, a good addition to the game. You can still use the old characters because you just ignore the wounded section because they are very well balanced on the non-wounded sections to each other. This also gives you a little more area on the card for the printing of the locations where they can hit, and I find that to be a little better. You can see that it's larger and easier to read than the old cards. But you can use the old cards. All you have to do is just ignore the wounded area on the old cards. Then you get your energy board. This is the energy board for the new game. I also have a couple more energy boards because I have 2 other versions of this game. And if you're going to play 5-player, you're going to have to use 2 energy boards so that you have another line for your 5th player. So you can do that if you have extra boards. Or you could just somehow squeeze one in to that board. You also get a new player board. This is what the new player board looks like. It's got red areas where your characters start, and that's about it. That's about all that's on there. This is the old player board that came in the previous version, and this one had these arc serves on it, and we no longer have the arc serves in the game. So that is actually going to be a change in the game. If you play this game, you can play it with the arc serves. You can play it on this one. If you do play it with the arc serves, on the back of the cards, all of the cards are going to make sense when people do their I'm dead option. So when somebody dies in this game, they get to turn the card over and roll a dice and do this stuff on their turn. If you don't play with the arc serves, the old cards reference arc serves, and so it's going to be a little weird. So what I plan to do if I don't play with the arc serves, I plan to give the player an unused character and say whenever you die you flip it over and you use this unused character's back, because it no longer references arc serves. If you're using an arc serve board, then it doesn't matter because they both make sense. This thing, what happens here will happen and it's fine, and what happens with the arc serves will happen when it's fine too. But that is one change that they made, and so that is something you have to work around if you're using the older characters with this new set. But I plan to use all the characters with this new set, so I plan to have either the arc serve board out or give them a card that has the non-arc serve back on the back. Then you also get a rule book. The rule book is actually identical pretty much to the other rule book. They've made some minor changes, and you can tell they've copied and pasted this rule book because in the rule book they say that the starting locations have a green outline, which is what is on this board, which is from the previous set, and you can clearly see that the outline on this board is red. So that is a mistake that they made, and I can tell you they just made that because they copied and pasted. I will say that I kind of feel like this game might have been rushed a little based on some of the typos that's in this book and some of the cut and paste errors, and then one location in this book where they talk about the combatants. If you notice, there's a combatants page that shows the beast and 4 units, and there's clearly more than 4 units in here, and I expected to turn the page and see the rest of them, and they're not even in there. So they're not even in the book. So I think this game was rushed to production a little bit, and it kind of shows in some of the things that you see in this book. This book's got some typos. This book has this issue with the starting locations, and so take that with a grain of salt. They've made this, this is the 3rd iteration of this game, so I'm sure they're just trying to reuse as much as possible, but I kind of feel like it was a little rushed. It's rushed in quality control because the box for this game was in perfect condition, and this insert was just completely crushed, and you know the person threw this in there and saw that it was crushed and didn't care and put it in there anyway, which makes me quite sad because these games are one of the few games where the insert is actually decent, and now I don't have a decent insert, so there's that. Okay, so let's talk about quickly the changes to this game that I think are positive changes. Getting rid of the wounded area, not having to fiddle with that during the game. I think that is a positive change, and easily ignored on the cards that have it. Just ignore it and just only use your healthy column there, so no problem. Another change is removing the arc serves. We played this game several times, and at first I thought, oh, you get stuck in one of them arc serves, it's going to mess you up. And I've kicked people into these arc serves, and it just seems like, okay, no problem, and they just get right out of it. Usually they roll out of it, but even if they don't roll out of it, all they have to do is discard some cards to get out of it. So I kind of feel like that wasn't really a benefit. So not having it at all, I think, is probably better. I've gone through all of the special abilities for these, and I'm not going to go through them on camera, but the special abilities for the new characters, they're very unique, and I like them. One of these guys can put down these explosives that if you walk into them or get pushed into them, they explode and do damage to you. This guy here has a special ability where he can shoot his grappling hook at and then out and then pull himself across the board, which is really cool. So I think they spent most of their time, coming up with unique special abilities for these characters, and I do appreciate that. I think that is really good. Because you're not wounded anymore in this game, these critical cards have removed the ability to be wounded from the game, and they don't say anything anymore about move one of your wounded healthy tokens to the wounded side and all that stuff. So I think that is a plus in the game. It just speeds up the game. The game was a little fiddly when it came to that stuff. In fact, that was the hardest rule to teach the new users, and now I don't even have to bother with that. So that's good. Miniatures are all positive. They're great miniatures. They go together easily. I've been putting together Shatterpoint miniatures, and they are a pain sometimes to get put together. These snap right together. Yes, you may have to use a little glue in a few places if they don't want to hold together completely, but for the most part, excellent. One of the things I do on my miniatures is I put a line on the front and the back of the miniature to show the front face and the rear face. I put the front one on so that the other players know exactly which way you're facing, because it does matter in this game. And I put the back one on so that when you move your character, you know that that back facing is complete opposite of the front facing, so you know exactly where your front facing is going. Because if you don't have the back line on there, then it's like, do I have him turned right? Well, you know exactly for sure if you have the line on the back. So I highly recommend putting lines on these figures if you want to have specific facings for them. Some of them are not facing exactly, forward, so you can face them, have their front facing be either way, the way they're looking, or the way you want, whatever way you want the front facing to be. Another plus for this game is the fact that you can use the other units from the other games in here. I don't have the units from the first game, but I do have the units from the second game, and I plan to integrate them in here. If I ever get the plastic figures for the first game, which was way out of print by the time I got into this game, I will integrate their cards in here, but I don't have those, so I didn't put their cards in here. I think that is a really good pro to this game. So all in all, I think the game in general, I'd give the game in general an 8 or a 9. It's a very fun game. It's very fast. You can play it with now up to 5 players. It's fun to compete against your friends and do damage to them and mess them up. I find it a very good game. For the price point, it can't be beat. $35 for a game with quality miniatures like this is just unheard of in the market today. Probably because this game is not owned by Asmodee. If this was an Asmodee game, I'm sure it would be $150. And they wouldn't be able to discount it. So cons on this game, the biggest con is who they're selling it through, Barnes & Noble. I wish they would go away from that, because Barnes & Noble is not a good partner. I think quality control is a con. You can't blame Barnes & Noble for this insert. You can't blame Barnes & Noble for typos and problems in the documentation. So I do think that Games Workshop has put this out 3 times, and they're a little lax in, you know, what they're doing, but they are doing good things. They're making modifications to the game that make it more fun. They are adding boatloads of figures that you're going to enjoy, but I just feel like they rushed through the documentation for this, and that's probably one of the bigger cons to this game. Other than that, this is a very fun game. If you can get a hold of this game for retail for $35, by all means get it. It's 100% buy in my book. Do not buy from the scalpers on eBay. Let them eat those things. I think if they get stuck with them and have to sell them for a discounted price in the end, then that will stop this nonsense. But it really won't, because it's been going on forever. I'm a toy collector and a board game collector, and I've dealt with scalpers for years with everything that I want to buy. And I don't mind when people buy up multiples of stuff if they want it for themselves, but when you're just buying them so that you can turn around and resell them to somebody who wants them, who could have bought them for the retail price for 3 times the price, I'm just not into that. I think that is a terrible thing, and I wish that we would, you know, do something about that, but I'm not sure what we can do about that. Offering these things online and selling them online, I think, has helped, because you don't have to go to the store. I don't live close to a Barnes & Noble. The Barnes & Noble for me is about an hour drive away. So I would check in my local Barnes & Noble whenever I would be in that town, because we'd have to go to that town for certain things. But you know, never showed up there, and as far as I can tell from the website, still not there now. So I'd say maybe that's a con, is that I think that Barnes & Noble should have shipped a bunch of these out to their stores. I mean, what is the whole reason for having a board game exclusive if it's not to get people into your store? So they probably should have shipped these all out to their stores and then made you come into the store to get it. But I'm not sure Barnes & Noble is a very smart company. They're the only company that I know that won't even match their own online price. If you go to a store and you want to buy something and they have it on their website for a cheaper price, they won't match it. I've tried. So Barnes & Noble, I don't think, is all that quick when it comes to business dealings. I'm shocked that they're still around with all the companies that have, you know, folded over the years. I'm shocked that Barnes & Noble isn't one of them, but I'm sure that day's coming. And then when that day comes, hopefully we'll be able to buy fine games like this at our local friendly game store, because if my game store would have had this, I would have definitely bought it from them and not Barnes & Noble. But it is what it is. But excellent game. If you can get this game, buy this game, play this game. The game is really fun. Hopefully, maybe we can get a video of us playing this game, because it is kind of a laugh riot, because people get so, you know, you're just kind of bashing each other and teaming up on each other, and you know, you get to laughing because people like get irritated because they're getting picked on and stuff. And so I find this game to be a very fun game. It's a very simple game. As far as Warhammer games go, this is probably one of the simplest games they have. This is way simpler to Warhammer Underworlds, which I play. It's way simpler to Bladeborn, which is the Far Cry simple down version. So this, if you want the simplest game to play and to teach that Warhammer offers, then this is it. This is the easiest game. The only complexity to this game, as far as I'm concerned, is adding in this guy and determining who gets to control him and all that stuff. But you don't even have to add this guy in, and for most of the games I play, we probably won't add this guy in. We'll probably just play 5 players against each other, because usually we have 5 people. But you could also have a 5th player play this guy too, and he has to beat everybody to win, and that's also an option. And so this game gives you a lot of options, a lot of ways to play, a lot of options in characters. So definitely a good game. 2 thumbs up for me on the game. 2 thumbs down from me on where it's being sold and the marketing on this. And if you guys have any questions about this game, please put them in the comments below. If you guys have been able to get this game, find it online or in a store, let me know in the comments below. If you like this game, let me know. Hit the notification bell and subscribe. I don't put out that many videos, but I do put out videos when I get games fun games that I enjoy, so if you hit that notification bell, it'll notify you when I do put out a video. Subscribe, that helps the channel. I also have things for sale on Colts.com, STL files that you can use on your 3D printer. If you want to support the channel financially, that's the way to do it. I don't do Patreon, I don't ask people to give me free money, but if there's something out there on Colts that you think would be useful to you and you have a 3D printer, please go out and buy some stuff and print that stuff out and use it. Alright, as far as that goes, that's all I have about this game today. I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you guys ever have any questions for me, put them down in the comments. Anybody who's put questions for me in the comments knows I always answer my questions that people put out there, and as soon as I possibly can. So I hope you enjoyed this, and until I see you guys again, happy gaming.